Welcome back to our Center of Podcast. I'm your host, Victor Long, my co-host, Mark. Mark, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm surviving, trying to get this episode started. How was your weekend? I'll let you do a little run over real quick. Tell me how you were. Haven't seen you.
Weekend was chill. I was just at work for the most part. It was a slow weekend, nothing too crazy. Most likely, it's summertime though. It's to be expected when people are just, going on vacation and stuff like that. So we're not really expecting that much sometimes, but we're usually like telling ourselves that, we're using this time to just prepare for like when it comes to the holiday season. So people, come back and whatnot and enjoy their time during those periods of time. But
True.
trying to see, was anything else really happening this weekend? I don't think it was just regular old weekend. Nothing really too crazy,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really about it. Work.
Yeah, I just went to the boardwalk on Saturday. Just got some food and came back. I didn't really go to like the beach or nothing. I just went for the boardwalk. Got some tanning in. Yeah,
Ooh.
Didn't really happen too much, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't see it.
Well, yeah, that was about it. I want to touch back on this because I remember it was our 300th episode where I talked about like I don't even know if I want to live in this city anymore.
Yeah.
I have some good news. It has now upgraded.
It's upgraded.
I don't even want to live in this country anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. After the past weekend or like whatever the fuck happened, that I'm sure all y'all, if you live here, at this point, like the whole Roe v. Wade shit. And Mark's having some more mic problems. Okay, we'll give you time. Okay, yeah, and yeah, I think for anybody who's listened to us in the past, y'all already know that like. Y'all know us, so y'all know that to us this is fucking stupid, and it's not our place to even have a word about it. So it's just like, yo, why is it still in question? Like we've made so much progress in the past 10 to 15 years with this kind of stuff. For them to just continue to backtrack like that was just mad annoying.
Yeah,
and then to even add on top of that, they made the whole like gun carry laws even more open, and it's just like it just kept getting worse and worse this weekend. Where I was just like, damn, like. I think I might need to look on Zillow for a crib in like Italy or some shit. I don't want to fucking live here anymore.
No, yeah, like I said, the recent shit that just happened is just it's really insane. And like you said, how like the gun laws have just been more open, and how stuff like this, especially making laws as far as like I guess taking things away from women and majority, I just personally feel like if you're not a woman, yourself, you shouldn't be like making these like judgment rules over things that, as a man has no idea, how it would be like,
It would never like personally afflict us.
Exactly. And
until the child itself is born. And
exactly.
If it's yours.
Like, I just don't feel like there's a reason for, for them to make a change like that without really, understanding the repercussions of the fact that it doesn't even affect someone like them, but, all the women. And yeah, I just feel like it's so terrible to have more openness as far as towards guns and something like this, for women. And I really feel for them because you really just think about it, like this society as far as like a country and just the world in general, it's always been like a man thing, And I feel like over the years and over the long years, women have tried to like, just get some, fairness and equal treatment. And for something like this, like they don't like, again, they ask for a lot. And for something like this to take away from them is just, I feel like that would suck to go that far to trying to get this. And then for people up in that higher power, majority old white men just are just like, no, we don't care. And it's just
who aren't reproducing at all.
Exactly. Yeah. And to do that is just, I find it so just terrible and just sick.
Yeah, this shit makes no damn sense. It's like this is usually like a half-hour show, we could stay here for like hours and talk about how like just invalid and how dumb the fucking argument is, like on so many different levels. Like for the most part, a lot of these people's basis of like not wanting abortion to be a thing is a religious based thing. Like to be honest, like other than that, like it seems like a lot of time that's kind of where it's based on.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, there's life and like that's a sin and like da 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 da. When we're supposed to be in a country where like that, like we're supposed to separate like religion and like politics.
Yeah.
Like none of that's supposed to really tie in ever. But at the same time, every president has to be like overtly Christian. Like they have to be like a God-fearing man and all this other shit, but we're not supposed to be like religious in politics. It's just, you could go all day with that shit.
Yeah.
So that's just dumb as shit. And then to be like, oh, like the reason we do this is because we care about life. But it's like, one, like but dozens of millions of people are pregnant right now.
Yeah.
None of that like ever affects you in your day-to-day life ever. And to act like you give a fuck about it, like it's fucking bullshit. And then it's like, oh, it's a life, but as soon as it's born, you still don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
Like even if the mother could like, or the parents, or even if it ends up being a single mother, like they could be struggling, and the fact that that child could live in poverty or any fucked up like situations, that doesn't even cross your mind anymore. You just care about that it wasn't aborted.
Yeah.
You don't care that it's suffering in its living life, whether the child is ill or the mother is ill or they're not well off or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense to me. And then to say that you're so pro-life, but to then see that living children, are just in the past month or so, were shot up in schools and all this other shit, and then to support the further like freedoms that people can have with weapons and less restrictions does not make any sense to me. There was a politician, I don't know her fucking name because I barely pay attention to politicians in general, but, or at least their names, and some lady was like, oh, like we want, talking about abortion laws, like we want these children to be just as safe in the womb as they would be in their classrooms and their homes and all this other shit. And the first word she said was safe in their classroom. I was like, yo, that's the worst opening line you could have picked, especially like right now, when in like the last month, literally like dozens of kids have died just being in school shootings.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, it's really just stupid to have to go like it really, like you said, we just feel like we're just backtracking, for the most part.
Big time.
We've been, constantly trying to improve, and it's just now it just seems like we want just war. Like I don't know. Like it just like it's so silly. Like it's crazy to say and silly almost to hear, but like you said, we're just backtracking and taking away things that really are not something that I feel like is that like you said, like something as far as guns, like that's something that, is used to really just hurt people for the most part. You could say you're using it for hunting, but we all know
still hurting something.
We all know that guns are used for the most part. They were invented to protect as far as to kill, because to protect yourself. And, the fact that you got to think like a gun, there's no one's going to be perfect. People are fucking crazy. They're murderers. Like, so if you need to like have a gun to protect yourself, I get that. But a lot of times people are using them now just in a way that they just think that they can use just because they feel a little bit threatened or offended, and then they just use it to take a life.
Wilding out.
And like that's not what it's used for. And for people to just now say, politicians to say we're using it just to basically just have more openness, and it's just, I don't know. It just, to me, why are we constantly trying to make this whole gun thing, as if like it doesn't matter? Like it's weird.
And what's frustrating the most part is that, like, again, at the end of the day, this stuff, with the like separating this from guns, I'm going back to like pregnancy and stuff like that. Like I said before, it doesn't really affect anybody directly except for the people that the woman that's pregnant, and then eventually, if the father is still present, the father that's going to be raising the child as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, damn, I lost my fucking thought. It's okay. But yeah, like it doesn't affect them at all. And to think, I lost it. I'm gonna come back to it. It was a good one.
I got you.
Yeah, I promise it was a good one. But yeah, I'm gonna let you.
Okay, yeah. Like, and I remember I was talking to Seth about this, and he was also just saying about, that with them touching that also ends up touching, like, the 14th Amendment, which is also the amendment that also houses, interracial marriage and also, same-sex marriage. And
they already talked about like questioning that stuff as well.
Exactly. And you just think like, bro, like, are y'all that serious? like it really just makes you think like, bro, we're talking about just people in general just being able to be with other people that they love, regardless of what they, look like, who they are, sex, race, anything. And it's just, I just can't believe that y'all are really sitting there thinking like, yeah, interracial, like, you know, like it might not be a thing anymore. Same-sex marriage might not be a thing anymore. Like,
which was just something that was brought into effect like 10 to 15 years. Like it was like, like we were like older when that shit was like law.
Exactly.
So like shit was wild. But that point, I got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my whole thing was like, I don't like, it doesn't affect these people directly unless you're the ones who are actually having this child together.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the idea. It's like, all right, cool. If you're against it, nobody's saying it's mandatory to get an abortion.
Yeah.
Like it's just the freedom to do so in this free country, like the most free country in the world. Like you should have the option to not or to get an abortion.
Exactly.
So why are you imposed? Like if that's your belief, you don't have to go and get one. But don't stop somebody else having the freedom to do so if they choose to do so as well.
Especially not knowing the situation that they might be going through with that, you know.
Yeah,
like it's not they just doing it because it's like, fuck, who cares? Like, you know, like it's just, there's a lot of situations that go into it, and you shouldn't just take it away. You know, again, like you said, if people who aren't even going through it, you know, it's, I don't know.
There's so many repercussions with pregnancies, and this is like even if one is deemed like a successful pregnancy, there's still side effects that the woman goes through. Not to mention that there are ones that don't go well, that there's a lot of stuff that they have to, you know, recover from in that situation. So it just doesn't make sense to me. And then that same ideology ties into like the same-sex marriage and interracial marriages, where it's like, if you don't believe in that, you're kind of, you're a dick.
Yeah.
But like, cool, you don't partake in that. Don't take away the freedom to allow other people to do so, though.
Yeah, like how would you just sit there just being cool, like seeing people, and you're just on the news like, hi, yeah, I fucked that up for them. Like that's just weird to me. Like
it'll never like bother you. It'll never directly affect you ever.
Exactly. So why mess it up for other people? Like, I don't know. Like, bro, just live on your life and die knowing that you're a dickhead and an asshole by yourself. I don't know, but yeah, live like that. Go ahead, but don't ruin the freedom of somebody else who's just wanting to enjoy their life the way they want to. And like, and it's crazy to think like all this shit. I don't know. It's, a lot of this shit is just happening at the like worst time, I guess, for people. And yeah, I don't know. People I feel like are just sitting there just with everything with COVID. I don't know. It has to be something like in the air. I don't know, because nothing seems to be going right for this year in general, you know.
Just as past, like, I don't know. I feel like one, we're taking a lot of steps backwards, and it just isn't like I feel like obviously we didn't live in previous generations because that's impossible. But we could be wrong. Maybe that's because we have the internet and shit. But I feel like we going through so many like textbook like big ass like events on such a rapid basis, in comparison to like the past, and that could be because of the internet. We have some access to a lot more.
I feel like it accelerates a lot faster.
It magnifies it, and it's harder to cover a lot of things. But it's just like, damn, bro, like it's like recessions and COVID and just like potential world wars and civil wars and war against women's uteruses and fucking gun laws and people like innocent children die. Like, bruh. Like, you know, like maybe it's because a lot of stuff went undocumented or uncovered, but it's like, this is like, we get too much information.
Yeah, I would never have thought that something as far as having children's lives in danger would have to ever like come to something that I would end up seeing, you know, like, or get to a point, you know. But it's just really sad to see that something like that's happening when all we should, like, I guess, I don't know. We should not have to worry about any of these little things, you know, like.
You would think it seems so simple.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like, oh, like, do you want children and innocent people to die? No. So let's add some restrictions to make sure that shit doesn't happen.
Like,
do we want people to continue to be born into poverty or have potential medical issues from birth or rape victims or anything like, or early like pregnancies to occur where people are going to be in a bad situation for the rest of their lives and not be able to take care of families and children and shit? That sounds terrible, does it not?
Yeah.
Does that not sound awful?
It does.
So why don't we do some things that can help prevent and alleviate those stresses?
I don't know. That's exactly what we're trying to figure out, because people up there just don't see it.
Because it goes against your morals? Cool, don't do it.
Yeah. Don't be a part of it, you know? That's what you think. Just don't be a part of it. No one's saying that you got to sit there. It's not like we're dragging you into it. We're not saying you have to, you know, I guess marry same sex or, you know, do it. Like, no one's telling you to do that. Just live your life the way you want to live it, but don't hurt anybody or make anybody feel bad or take somebody's freedom away when we, like you said, live in so-called, you know, free country, you know, so.
I would love to talk about farts and shit and like act like everything cool, but it's like I feel like not that our shit is like our opinions are the biggest shit in the world, but I feel like it'd be very like blind of us to just be like, oh yeah, like so like I farted this morning, bro.
Yeah, especially being two guys on a podcast, you know, like I'd rather, you know, us talk about it than not, because that just goes to show if we didn't, just like we don't care. But like, I feel like we do, because again, it affects everybody. Like we have, you know, like brothers, sisters, like all that, regardless, and it's just like we might as well just talk about it, you know, like we have women in our lives, like why not? Like we have to feel for them, you know. It sucks.
And you know what's mind blowing too, is that there are women who like are on the side or are like on the opposite side of that shit, like being like.
And most likely, it's what you said about the whole religious thing.
Probably. That a lot of the time, like outside of that, what other reason could you really have? Like, exactly. A lot of people base it upon religion.
Exactly. That's the only thing I could think of.
And it was wild to me too is that like there are other religions other than Christianity and shit.
Yeah.
That like they don't really have anything against abortion or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's really
So instilling this law or like taking away that right is also impeding on the fact that people like have freedom of religion. Because if it's against their religion, then how the fuck like so they can't do these things. Now, I will say we know that like this is at a federal level, so states can still decide to whether or not they still want to do so. And I will say that PA and New Jersey, I believe both are still like they have been very like at least our current governors have been like, as long as I'm still here, you guys will still have the right to do so. And I'll at least toss up one of those out there. It's a short one because people are still getting shot up every fucking weekend in this city. True, yeah. So you don't, you know, I'll give you that. But you still got some fucking work to do because this city is, I don't know.
Garbage.
I have to block 6ABC. Are you logged into the etc. Twitter on your phone?
Nah, not on Twitter. No, not on Twitter.
So I have it on my phone, and like I don't know if you with Instagram it does it to you too, but you'll get notifications from like an account you're not signed, like you're not currently opened.
Yeah.
So it does it for Twitter too, and for whatever reason, I guess because it knows we're in Philly. I get like notifications on the ETC account about 6ABC, which we don't even follow them. And they'll just be like, oh, like 6 shot in a drive-by shooting in Philly this week. I'm like, damn, bro. And it's just like nonstop. And it's just like, yo, like, and that's another thing too, is like nobody's saying like completely get rid of them guns. But like, damn, we need something to prevent some shit from happening. Like same shit goes with cars. Like think about how much goes into owning a car.
Yeah.
You need like you need some type of learning. You need a class or whatever it may be. You need to go to an instructor, have somebody observe how good you are at driving in all aspects, and know that you know all the rules that ties into it, and know that you're physically able to drive a car, whether it's your vision, your hearing, or like your mental sanity.
Yeah,
they check all that shit when you're 16 years old.
Yeah,
you get a permit, and then you have to like have it like use it for like 6 months or until you're 18 or whatever the fuck.
Something like that.
And then you can get a license.
Yeah.
And that's just to drive. And then there's titles. There's like fucking tags. There's licenses you have to renew. Insurances. Like you have to redo this shit like on a yearly or like every 2-year basis.
Yeah.
Why is it that you can just get a gun that easily and not have those same type of things? And there's different licenses for different types of cars.
Mm-hmm.
So why is these not the same things in place for like for guns? Like if you want to have a handgun, like a simple ass pistol, cool, you can get a license for this. If you want to hold a fucking light machine gun, there should be a separate license for that too. We gotta
talk about some shit.
Yeah, like if you want to have like this high grade, military grade like rifle, there should be a even more extensive test and stuff for those specific
especially
weapons.
Probably like what your occupation is, like you shouldn't just be some guy who just, stay at home, work from home and owning a fucking sniper rifle.
Yeah, like who are you defending from?
Like, oh shit, unplugged it again. But yeah, like who are you, like why do you have that? And there shouldn't be a reason as to like, why that's in your home if you're not working as far as something that entails having it.
Let's be real, like there's a 1% that even remotely even like could need that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And it's not even a need. Like hunters and shit, you don't need to do that.
No.
Unless you live like so fucking remote that you're fighting for your own food. It's 2022. Go to a supermarket, please.
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand. Like even with cars, like you think about it, it's like cars, motorcycles, commercial trucks, school buses, like those. Like if you're carrying like what's it called? Like radioactive material, like all those things that carry those type of vehicles, they have their own thing. There's boating licenses. Like the fuck, like there's just what you have a gun permit. Here's this wide array of weapons that you can take home with you if you just pay for it or do whatever.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be like that. It should be okay. Here's a gun, but with each one, there's something different because one can be more harmful than the next. And these are the things that you should only be able to use these guns for if you do have it, not because you just feel like, oh, I'm in danger. Let me pull out my light machine gun and just do whatever I want. Out. Let me not go somewhere and hurt innocent children because I was offended or I don't know, man. A lot of the times it goes into mental illness. I'm gonna put in air quotes because that's literally the only thing that they can really come up with as an excuse as to why this shit happens. And really, like, is that really an excuse for a child's life that's now not here anymore? No.
But I feel like regardless, like if you do anything like that, you do have to have some type of mental illness.
Yeah.
Even if you're like racist, I feel like you have a mental illness to a certain extent.
I mean, you should not be on the streets. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that they think that because of that, it's like they think of it's like, oh, okay, let's turn a blind eye. Like
he's sick. Yeah, don't worry about it.
And it's just like, no, like.
Well, why are there so many sick people? Can we start looking into that? Can we start figuring something out?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's annoying to hear it
because Bobby didn't get picked on like the varsity basketball team. He thinks it's okay to let a couple out in school. Like, can we address why that's not okay? Like
exactly. And my what I was gonna say is that there should be something as far as like tendencies or something that people should be seeing, as far as like, I don't know, look out for them. Like you said, like look into it more. Like, why is this person like acting a little bit weird all of a sudden? Like there
should be evaluations like on a regular basis, if it expires in 2 years, like a license,
especially parents too, like for that situation, but
talk to your kids, man.
Yeah, that's basically what I was gonna say. Like,
this shit's insane, man. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get why it's so like it's like, oh, they're trying to take it away. Nah, bro. Like, to be honest, if somebody was like, oh, like I drove drunk and got caught, don't you think, oh, maybe you shouldn't drive for a little bit, or maybe you shouldn't have a license like after a couple of times? Like, same thing with a gun. If you have like on your record you have 2 like violent crimes in your past, maybe we should be looking at you like, oh, can we trust you? Like, that's not anything against you. Like, people can change, people can grow. Maybe you had a rough past and like, you have a criminal record. When they check the background check, it makes it a little bit more difficult, but that's like rightfully so. Like, things happen. We understand that, but we shouldn't just treat you the same exact way with somebody with a clean record and good mental health records as well.
Yeah.
We should be like, hey, like you're at risk to do some bad shit. We're going to take it easy with you. Maybe we don't give you a gun right now. Like,
I feel like regardless of, at risk, I feel like owning a gun in general is just a high risk, like owning something like that is just a high risk, whether it's hurting someone or yourself, like anything could happen. But it's just, we need to make sure we look at guns as something as not like it's an accessory of, fun or just like, oh, it's cool, but a thing of just use for protection. People say they learn like certain type of fighting, whether if it's like kung fu, box, whatever. They say, oh, we use it for self-defense. Like, that's literally all it should be for, not because they just want to, like you said, lay a couple out and just.
And you don't see the fucking judo instructor going crazy on people inside of a supermarket. Man, just people just like nobody's doing that. Like, and they still are like they're trained to kill, basically. Like, people who are like really, really skilled in that, they could hurt people, but they still don't, because that's still fucking wild.
Yeah, that's weird.
And not to mention, they just made it that you don't even need to carry like you can open carry without your permit on you.
Yeah.
So you could just walk, like you don't even need to technically have a license. It's like, oh, I left it at home, even if you don't have a permit.
Exactly.
And you could just have a gun on you.
So now that person just kind of like was, I don't know, they could just say that, be let go, and then,
Like, why are they making these restrictions looser? We've been talking about making that shit tighter. Like, doesn't make sense. And then they just made it that after they announced all this at the same time, they made it that cops can no longer be sued if they don't read you your rights when they arrest you. During a time when they know that people are going to riot and be upset about what the rulings that were made. So they do that on purpose, where they could just take you in. But we out of time. I know it's early, but we're going to be back here tomorrow recording 2 other episodes. So we're going to leave it at that. I think this is a relevant enough topic to where you could just make this the overarching point of this episode. If you don't have a coochie, Leave them alone.
Yes.
Let them do what they want with their coochies. Yes. That is all. If you have a gun, take it easy with the gun shit. Put it away. You don't need to flash it everywhere.
Yeah.
Clap with me if you understand. There you go. We do not need that shit to that crazy ass degree. Take it easy. Go through your testing. Do the shit proper way. Don't cut corners. Think about other people for once. Stop acting like you care about other people and then go and do shit like that where you just, don't give a fuck about babies being born or going into supermarkets or being like, oh, like my rights. Stop being selfish. We just went through 2 years of being locked up. Think of other people. That's all I got to say about it. Mark, anything from you before we get out of here?
No clapping, but like you said, I think the most important thing that you said that I'm gonna just reiterate again is just that idea, like, if it has nothing to entail with you, don't worry about it. I know it's
mind your business.
Yeah, I feel like I know somebody is probably gonna sit there like, oh well, I live in this country, it should be my business. Like, okay, cool, but the details of what that thing is about, like if it has nothing to do with, your self, health or anything like that, like then don't worry about it, let, I don't know. It sucks to hear what's happening, but again, we need to stop going backwards and moving more forward and improving stuff. So if you guys enjoyed this, yeah, I hope you guys, understand what we're talking about. We hope after this you go and relay the message to other people, talk about it more because, hopefully we actually impacted you guys talking about this and just showing you how, stupid this country is coming.
Yeah. And if you don't have a coochie, stay out of it unless somebody with a coochie is like, hey, I need your help.
Yeah.
I got this situation. Can you help me with this situation? Because this country's being an asshole towards me. So you be helpful. Yeah. Don't argue with them. It's not your cooch. Let them do what they want with their cooch. That's all I got to say. Be nice to each other and mind your own business. That's all you got to do. And you can live a happy life and die like everybody else. Then you don't have to worry about it anymore. That's it. Bye.